Recently, I had the pleasure of experiencing something completely unique and original. The Stanley Parable, released in November 2011, is an ingenious, superbly constructed Half-Life 2 mod created by Davey Wreden. You play as Stanley, an office worker who notices one day that all of his co-workers have vanished. As he explores his workplace to find out why everyone has disappeared, Stanley and the player are given new perspectives on freedom, control, identity, and why we play video games. With its branching narrative, the Stanley Parable is nothing less than a deconstruction of the player character itself in video gaming. You see, you don't just play as Stanley, you play as the archetypal player character, which encompasses everyone from Link to Gordon Freeman. The ideal path, which the narrator wants you to enact, has Stanley finding the mechanism that had controlled him, deactivating the generator, and walking out a free man. This room alone contains some clever symbolism. The control panel that determined all of Stanley's feelings and actions symbolizes your mouse and keyboard, or controller for console users, and the numbered monitors represent the stages or levels in most games. One way or the other, Stanley figures out that he is a character in a video game. He may gain a Zen-like awareness of that fact, or go insane with the realization, depending on the ending. At first, the Stanley Parable seems linear to an extreme degree. The narrator tells you where to go at every turn, will chastise you for going off track, and will even destroy Stanley with nuclear detonators if he activates the generator and tries to take control for himself. However, you will relish taking different paths. This game only looks linear, as going off track is part of the point. Disobeying the narrator will give you new scenarios, new clever insights, and plenty more irresistible dark humor. The Stanley Parable openly acknowledges that it's a video game and draws attention to the objectives, environments, and pre-scripted events that guide characters in video games. Since Stanley is introduced as an average guy with a life, home, and family, this game becomes a surreal mirror for our own lives in reality. We have free will, or at least we think we do, but rules, interactions with others, and social contexts limit our actions and influence us down a relatively narrow path through life. With the possible exception of sandbox games and MMOs, the environments in video games are necessarily confined to keep the player progressing through the story. You could stand in the one spot for hours or empty your ammo into the wall, but that's not going to get you any further. Forms of authority tell us what we can and cannot do, and most of us are given goals to accomplish throughout our lives. Pass that test, get good grades, graduate from college, find a job, buy a house, find a partner, get married, have kids, etc. The many stages of aging and development could be seen as analogous to levels, and our pursuits obviously have win or lose outcomes. I don't believe that our reality is predetermined, as that would imply an intelligent agent plotting out the world in advance. As an atheist, I do not believe in the divine programmer. On the deepest, most fundamental level, we have the choice to live out our lives as we choose, but life is still similar to a video game in that our lives are goal-based, these goals are often imposed by others, and our freedom of thought is naturally constrained by physical and social boundaries when put into action, just as a video game character is hindered by programming rules. Life is not a video game. Life is real, and it is dangerous to view fantasy and reality as the same. Even so, on a basic, very general level, our experiences in real life are similar to those of the archetypal player character Stanley represents. I have never accepted Descartes' notion of mind-body duality, as I believe that the soul has an organic basis in the matter of our brains. Still, for the sake of this discussion, our minds are the players, and our bodies are the fleshy avatars in this enormous sandbox game of life. Essentially, Stanley is us. The Stanley Parable makes excellent use of the source engine. I could tell you that the shadows look slightly rough, and some of the objects are of a low, smudgy resolution, but none of this really matters. A game as self-aware as this doesn't need to look 100% real. Besides, the game has pleasant, eye-catching visuals, and the set pieces are vast, diverse, and atmospheric. The music is upbeat and fits the tone as the events unfold, and Kevin Brighting is an incredibly witty, distinguished narrator. For a game consisting mostly of exposition, the Stanley Parable still has tension and excitement. When a short, hour-long game not only offers a psychological window into the mind of the prototypical player character, but also makes us compare our lives with the games we enjoy, that game is a work of genius. Intelligent, humorous, and complex, the Stanley Parable earns 4.5 stars out of 5. Thanks for watching. Cheers.